Why did Nina Dobrev despise Paul Wesley? Did Candice King cheat on Zach Roerig in real life? And what did Paul Wesley and Ian Somerhalder's bromance grow into? Hi, I'm Janet. Let's jump right in. Before they were friends, if you weren't shipping Delana, you were shipping Stelena. But Nina Dobrev and Paul Wesley's relationship wasn't what it looked like on screen. Sorry to break it to you, but Nina recently admitted to despising Paul when they first started filming The Vampire Diaries. Yup, despised.
Paul and I didn't get along at the beginning of the show. I respected Paul Wesley. I didn't like Paul Wesley. I realize now that there's a fine line between love and hate, and we despised each other so much that it read as love, but it was like burning we really just didn't get along.
She went on to say that it really annoyed her that people on set assumed that she and Paul were dating in real life because of their great chemistry. Die-hard fans saw this flicker and hoped it would translate into a real-life romance. But unfortunately, it didn't. Paul confirmed.
It's true. When we first started shooting The Vampire Diaries, we totally clashed. Creatively, it just wasn't in sync.
So what's the story? Well, Paul blamed it on the amount of time they had to spend together. He said it was just too much. It was extreme, and extreme of anything is generally not good. He admitted to taking Nina for granted and not appreciating the person he was forced to spend all this time with. But you will be pleased to know that things have changed. Not too long later, their off-screen relationship blossomed into an everlasting friendship. Nina admits that she's probably closest to Paul out of everyone on the show now. She affectionately names him one of her best friends. The two recently got together for a couple's weekend away with their respective partners. They posted pictures all over Instagram, having a fab time enjoying the snow in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. How sweet. Paul may have not hit it off instantly with Nina, but he did with someone else. Keep watching to find out who. Another relationship that started off rocky was Ian Somerhalder and Kat Graham. On screen, their characters started out as bitter enemies, but grew to love one another in such a profound way it touched hearts around the world. In a life-mimicking art manner, Kat and Ian had a similar situation unfold in real life. Kat admits that she and Ian hated one another when they first started working together, and Kat puts it down to their age gap and different levels of maturity. When the show started filming in 2009, Kat was only 20 years old, while Ian was 31. Kat says, "I was still finding myself, and throughout the years, he's helped me find myself and is now one of my greatest inspirations." Kat also had a lot of real-life emotional trauma that she had to deal with over her years on the show. The day after her own grandmother's funeral, Kat was shooting Bonnie's reaction to the death of her grandmother, Sheila. It's no wonder that the episode was so powerful. She was channeling real and raw emotions. Kat says that scene shocked her to the core, but admits that being able to play a character like that through some of my darkest hours, it was my saving grace. And what about behind-the-scenes love affairs? Let's find out. All's fair in love and war. For a brief period of time, Caroline Forbes and Matt Donovan had a budding romance. But did you know that Candice King and Zach Roerig dated in real life too? In 2011, they suddenly started posting pictures of one another on their social media. They also attended a Halloween party together and wore matching costumes. But just like Matt and Caroline, their relationship didn't last long. A year later, they ended things. Why? Well, it's rumored that Candice met her future husband just a few months before the breakup. So, she could have been dating two guys at once. Scandalous. Luckily, Zach and Candice remained friends and began filming the 4th season of The Vampire Diaries. Candice is now married to Joe King, and they have 2 daughters named Florence and Josephine. As for a comeback on Legacies,
well, right now, due to what's going on in the world, Legacies has obviously been put on hold. But there's always potential plans for Caroline to pop in and see everybody and check in on the school and on her daughters.
Zach's personal life also had a bit of drama in 2013 when he made headlines. He petitioned for sole custody of his then 2-year-old daughter Fiona. Her mother, Alana Turner, had been arrested for fraud and is currently in prison. Zach himself was recently arrested for driving under the influence. He seems to be doing much better and is currently guest starring in the 3rd season of Legacies. Now, do you remember Dr. Meredith Fell? Or maybe you remember Melissa Hastings on Pretty Little Liars? Well, before all that, on the set of the film Killer Movie, Torrey DeVito met Paul Wesley, and the the two fell in love. Paul, who auditioned for his role on The Vampire Diaries 15 times, eventually got the call that he was being cast as the younger Salvatore brother and moved to Georgia. Tori originally auditioned for the role of Elena, but was unsuccessful. In 2011, just before she joined the cast of The Vampire Diaries, she and Paul got married. Paul was thrilled when Tori moved east, saying, "It's fantastic because otherwise we'd be 2,000 miles away, Los Angeles and Georgia, so it's nice to be in the same geographical location." Unfortunately, the marriage didn't last, and the two filed for a divorce after just 2 years. Just a few months later, Paul started seeing another woman, the newest addition to the Vampire Diaries set, Australian star Phoebe Tonkin. When the two first made an official appearance together, the media loved it. There were rumors that this could have been the reason for Paul and Tori's sudden split. Crew members noticed that Paul had his eyes on Phoebe from the moment they met, but they always had a rocky on and off relationship. They broke up after 4 years and unfollowed one another on social media, but apparently remained friends. Cause that's what friends do, right? And what about the most famous relationship to come out of the Vampire Diaries? The romance between Ian Somerhalder and Nina Dobrev started in 2010 and flourished. They even spent holidays with families together and everything seemed to be going really well. But 3 years later, the pair started sharing cryptic posts on social media, hinting at a split. Why did they break up? Well, neither of them have ever spoken up about the issue to this day. People have been speculating that the 10-year age gap between the two might have taken a toll on the relationship. Guess we'll never know for sure. After the split, it didn't take Ian long to move on, and right into the arms of one of Nina's best friends. The pair were still working together as an on-screen steamy couple. That's when Nina decided to leave early. It was natural for fans to assume that the reason Nina left had to do with Ian. Was it hard for them to maintain a professional relationship after the breakup? Was there mutual animosity? Did Nikki Reed feel threatened by Nina's presence and closeness to Ian? None of these questions has ever truly been answered. Nina denies leaving the show because of Ian, saying that they were friends before they started dating and remained friends after the breakup. 6 months after Ian and Nikki started dating, he popped the question and the two got married. Shockingly, or not, Nina was left off the guest list. But she continues to say that the drama is in the media. It's not with us. But of course, we're on a teen drama show. Everyone's going to look for drama. If there's no drama, there's nothing to write about. Nina says the reason she left after 6 seasons was because she was ready for something new and to take more risks. She was also afraid of being typecast into similar roles, as many Hollywood stars become after playing one character for many years. She said, "I started Vampire Diaries when I was 20, and I was playing a young teenage girl. I grew with the show, and I wanted to continue to grow outside of it." As for his experience on the show, Ian looks back on it fondly, saying, "A lot of stuff that Damon goes through is super cathartic for me as an individual, and it's not always pretty. It's basically like getting paid for therapy." As for season 9 of The Vampire Diaries or a reunion show, Ian is not sold on the idea. He acknowledged the resilience of the show and the impact it had, but would like to leave it in the past. And Nina agrees, saying, "The fairy tale has to end, and the next chapter has to begin with friends like these." Bonnie Bennett and Elena Gilbert were best friends, but they also had their trying times when Elena became a vampire. Many fans wonder what Kat and Nina's real-life relationship is actually like. Well, the on-screen besties got along off-screen too, and started a great friendship. Throughout their time filming, they would often post pictures of them together, and clearly hung out off-set all the time. And when Nina left the show, Kat came out to publicly support her, saying, "It's very bittersweet. We're all a family, you know, and you always want to stay together forever, but everyone has their journey, and all you can do is wish them well and support them." Kat revealed that Nina wanted to leave long before she actually did, and if social media is anything to go by, it seems the two have not kept in touch since then. It could also be that Kat and Ian got extremely close over the years, especially since Kat was overjoyed when Nikki and Ian got married, saying, "I'm like, thank God you guys found each other, because I don't know what you would do without each other. They're perfect." Ouch. I mean, that's gotta hurt a little bit for Nina, right? But what about Caroline and Elena? The pair seems to have been on the opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of personality, but their mutual love for Bonnie kept them together. In real life, Nina and Candice are really tight and remain in touch to this day. Candice was present at Nina's 30th birthday, and Nina is credited for bringing Candice and her man together. Apparently, Nina and Candice were at a football game together when Candice spotted Joe King. She was too shy to give him her number, so Nina did it for her, and the rest is history. Candice and Joe might not even be together if it wasn't for Nina. One relationship of the Vampire Diaries that has stood the test of time is that of the Salvatore brothers, and we couldn't be any happier about it. Paul and Ian instantly clicked when they met on set. Originally, casting directors passed on Paul to play Stefan because they felt he looked too old for the role, even though he had auditioned so many times. But when they cast Ian as the older Salvatore brother, they thought Paul would be a great Stefan. One of the show's creators, Julie Plett, says Ian very quickly took Paul under his wing, brother to brother, commenting that it's easy to fall in bro love with Ian Somerhalder. Paul and Ian agree, saying the best love story is between Stefan and Damon. Ultimately, their brotherly love and hate relationship is probably the most interesting thing. After Nina left the show, the series revolved around this complex relationship and gave it a fitting ending. Stefan sacrificing himself for his brother and then meeting him in the afterlife. Everything came full circle with the line, "Hello, brother," Damon's first lines on the show. As of their off-screen bromance, well, Paul says, "Ian's a very loving guy. We hug a lot. We've cuddled. Aww." Remember how much Damon and Stefan loved their bourbon? Well, the duo teamed up to launch an alcohol brand fittingly titled Brothers Bond Bourbon.
Paul Wesley and I are launching our own bourbon brand, which I'm hoping you ladies are going to like because it is very yummy. Not just for the ladies, but also for these guys.
Ian says, "This has been a 10-year journey with him. He's family. He's my little brother. We talk every day. Doesn't it make your heart melt?" And if you check out the company website, you'll see that their drink is inspired by each moment of their brotherhood. Aw, again? Want to know more about the stars of the Vampire Diaries? Check out our videos about where they are now and who's dating who. Subscribe and stay awesome.